Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting match of StarCraft 2, spawning in the top left of the map with the red Terran SCVs. We have Lord Opposite, fantastic diamond player, Lord Opposite, spawning his opponent in the bottom right of Babylon, playing with the blue SCVs. He plays the radar up and down, but most of the times he's just a clown. He's Lord Tomicron! Opposite and Tomicron are ready to deliver you a fantastic banger of a game also today. Now, finally, after a hard day of work, it's finally time for you to have some fun, to channel out the clown inside of you, to channel out the Lord Tomicron inside of you, which is exactly the same as before, just a clown, and to enjoy the fantastic clownish moves and mistakes and aggression and the clown fiesta that these two players are going to throw to each other. Alright, and I have to say, Artosis, I really like TVT. Terran versus Terran, for me, is a fantastic matchup, because many people think it's slow, it's campy, it's boring, but I really like it. For me, it's very dynamic. You have a lot of angles to consider, you have a lot of angles to defend, always movement, always something going on. I mean, it's a lot of fun, honestly. We see Opposite growing in economy, producing those workers to earn even more resources, more minerals, and above all, more gas. Whereas producing a fast reactor that allows you to produce 2 units at a time out of the barracks and going for that quick factory. Lord Tomicron kind of the same, going for the quick factory as well, without reactor. And this is also one reason why I like TVT, because the early game is all around those Speedy boys. Both players are now producing the Speedy boys. Speedy boys are the Ravens and the Hellions, the first Speedy units that both players use for the initial blows, initial attacks, and initial map control. So this is one Speedy boy for Lord Tomicron, waiting for his companions to join the fray. And Opposite, on the opposite side, is answering with 2 Speedy boys in production from his side, plus the third, a Widow Mine, for a more static defense. Now, Speedy Boys 2 and 3 soon to be finished. Speedy Boy 1 already traveling across the map without fear from Lord Tomicron, whereas Opposite, more an economic guy, throws immediately the second base to quickly expand and gather all those minerals as well. Tomicron is delaying its second base to have a quicker starport, which means quicker flying units and quicker tech. Alright. So 3 minutes in the game, Tomicron is already in the face of the opponent, taking a Widow Mine shot in the face, losing 1 unit. First blood for Opposite. Tomicron can now kill the mine, because when the mine shoots it is visible, but doesn't do it yet. More Speedy Boys gathering for Tomicron, the Speedy Car and Speedy Reaper. Tomicron dancing back and forth. Tomicron cleared the mine, actually. On the other hand, Opposite patrolling the top of the map, or the top of his base with 4 Reapers, and producing already the first heavy Cyclone. So this tech lab allows Opposite to produce better units, more armored units already. Lord Tomicron tries again to enter with 4 Speedy Boys, kills the worker that is building the base, delay in the base for Opposite. Opposite scrambles to defend with 4 Reapers and 2 Mariners. Lord Tomicron massing army in front of the enemy base, building its own second base. We see a Labrador. What did I just do? We see a Liberator from Lord Tomicron going here and going in the back of the base, trying to harass. Army in the front for Lord Tomicron. So Lord Tomicron from the class in 2-prong harass, Liberator in the back, and Speedy Boys in the front. How much damage Tomicron will find? Going with the Speedy Boys, targeting the Speedy Boys of the opponent, Battle of Speedy Boys, grenade goes off, and Tomicron is the better end of the fight, roasting all those Reapers for the enemy. But Cyclone is guarding the ramp, so Tomicron is losing units as well, targeting the workers of the enemy, but the Viking and the Cyclone from opposite, very, very armored, are too much for the lightly armored units for Tomicron has now to piss off, whereas the Liberator is wrongly sieged, doesn't find any damage yet, flies behind the base. Lord Tomicron siege again the Liberator, and but opposite has a very optimal time of reaction, fantastic reaction time from opposite, pulls away the workers, not even one worker kill. Tomicron gains only some mining time lost for opposite. Tomicron also kills one side. Alright, so resources lost. Tomicron is a little bit ahead in resources lost, not a big deal because opposite is going to kill the Liberator for Lord Tomicron. Now, third base is already finished for Lord Tomicron. Second base finished as well, already mining. In this moment, I would say that Tomicron is ahead. Fantastic early game for Lord Tomicron. Workers are even. Tomicron has one base more to produce a lot of workers. Tomicron has also more army. 2 Ravens are ready. And these Speedy boys from Tomicron guard the ramp of the opponent, granting Tomicron a lot of map vision. However, opposite is not done yet. Opposite is building the factory, more factories to produce those Mech units. Alright, opposite now is scanning the base of Tomicron and sees a Bionic build, barracks, and barracks. Tomicron counter-scans, and boys, Tomicron sees a wonderful thing. Third base, factory. So this means that we have a Bio versus Mech game. Welcome everybody to a fantastic game with 2 opposite strategies indeed. Lord Opposite, you know, is a fan of the Transformers movie. So he watched the Transformers movie 27 times. He closed himself one full weekend to watch them in a marathon without no one else than him in the house. Opposite believes in the Transformers, and that is why he's building so many factories and startups. You see, he wants to build only Transformers, the jet fighters that transform in ground warriors, the tanks that transform in siege mode, the Hellions that transform into Hellbat, the Thors that transform into better Thors with more attack on air. So opposite all along this game will produce mechanical transforming units. You see already 2 tanks in production and 1 reactor for opposite, plus 2 Vikings. On the other hand, Lord Tomicron is already going up to 5 barracks. Tomicron instead will produce the angry boys, the Mariners. The Space Mariners that can steam and have more DPS, but are also very, very fragile. What does it mean? This means that in a head-to-head fight, the mechanical army always wins, because those tanks in siege mode provide a lot of splash damage. However, the mechanical army is also slower, less maneuverable, and is also more expensive. Especially, it costs more gas. On the other hand, the Bionic army, the Mariners, are more maneuverable, quicker to move, and also quicker to rebuild, and also cheaper. They cost mostly minerals, so Tomicron, for example, can skip gas temporarily from this base, while opposite still has to land the base. Now you see those jet fighters transformed into robots. They killed the Speedy boys from Tomicron. The last Speedy boys for Tomicron are gonna fall, and the jet fighters transform back in flying mode. Alright. I didn't know I can switch my replay view into this view. Wow! And now I have full full gameplay view of what's happening around. Fantastic. Alright, let's go back to the mini-map as well. Lord Opposite is a bit behind in economy, 51 workers against 61. Yeah, but okay, and we have Tomicron already with a nice move out over here. Lord Tomicron is moving out with 2 Ravens, 3 Vikings, and a Marine tank to put pressure on the right lane of the map. Sorry. Lord Tomicron is on the right lane of the map, putting pressure on this angle, but the opposite has some jet fighters in position. Opposite has also tanks in position. Let's see how the fight goes. Engagement. Lord Tomicron getting smashed by the tanks of opposite. Tomicron disabling the tanks. Tomicron steams forward. The Mariners from Tomicron kill the tanks, but also get blasted by the other two tanks, just ruin the army of Lord Tomicron, while the jet fighters from opposite flank the army from the side, and Tomicron actually loses its army in this engagement. Quite a bad engagement for Lord Tomicron, losing actually trading a bit bad, killing some valuable units, but also losing its ravens and initial army. Quite a big blow for Lord Tomicron, who is anyway ahead in economy, so Tomicron can also afford to lose some resources. Tomicron, in the meanwhile, producing a new army and producing those depots and those SCVs. The third base for Tomicron is fully saturated, even too much saturated. Half saturated base for Lord Opposite, who in the meanwhile went up to 5 factories. One upgrade finishing for the Hellions to burn harder. The big robots from Opposite, look how beautiful, how iconic. The Thor is ready to shoot the sky and the ground and to transform. One spotter for Tomicron will be killed by the cars of Opposite. Opposite with a spotter flying barracks to check this attack path from Lord Tomicron. Sensor tower to have a lot of vision around the base, and Opposite is massing slowly but surely its army. Tomicron already building a 4th base in the meanwhile, but also Opposite actually is building in the main base its 4th base. Opposite hitting a bit of a supply bulk, and Tomicron taking possession of the left side of the map. Let's see. Tomicron with an attacking army, putting pressure on the left side of the map, has to put pressure on the flying barracks, but Opposite take a beautiful defensive position, and Tomicron has to run back, not to get hit by Opposite tanks, who deals a lot of damage. Lord Tomicron is cornered on the left side of the map, has to take a pause and see what to do, either retreat or trying a drop. Tomicron lost the medivac. Lord Tomicron boost the medivac, drop the medivac in the natural base of Opposite. The tank drops, the marine drops, engagement, the Vikings shoot, the train siege, the mariners steam, they steam on the Thors. One Thor's falling, second Thor falling as well, the third Thor will fall as well. Meanwhile, the Vikings for Opposite will finally clean the drop from Tomicron. The trade here was equal, but I would say I like this move for Lord Tomicron, because Tomicron now traded more expendable units for more precious units. Lord Tomicron has killed 3 of those big robots, losing only small, easily replaceable soldiers over here. Tomicron losing those marauders, but putting some damage on the jet fighters, who will now transform back in flying mode, hopefully. In the meanwhile, Tomicron, exactly, transformation happened. Lord Tomicron massing a new army with mariners with 2 upgrades, 2 attack and 2 armor. Lord Opposite, on the other hand, has 1 upgrade for his ground units and 1 upgrades for his air units. Tomicron saturating the 4th base already. Lord Opposite behind in saturation. Tomicron spots with a explorator mariner that the opponent has a 4th base. Tomicron has 80 workers, Opposite only 64. Tomicron is outmining the opponent at this moment, has also more army, but Opposite can mass all these powerful mech units and then push, and then can easily defeat Tomicron in a head-to-head fight, so Tomicron has to be careful. Now the mariner for Tomicron will harass some worker over here. Opposite will continue producing these cars. Opposite, big mineral bank, doesn't have that, also has gas, so it doesn't have gas problems. Tomicron with another attack, relentless aggression from Lord Tomicron with a bigger army this time. Marine Marauder Medivac aimed at denying this base over here. A car from Opposite, finally killing the harassing mariner. Tomicron scans forward, see no army here, then steams forward. Lord Tomicron launches the sword, mariner steaming to glory, assaulting the planetary fortress. The hug of death, Tomicron conquering and the base fall. Tomicron sieging up the jets of Opposite. Opposite sieging too far, losing tanks, the jets, the Thors from Opposite will be blasted away from the tank line. Big mistake by Opposite, again big mistake, putting the unsieged tanks into the siege line of Tomicron. Tomicron steaming forward, brave move from Tomicron, trying to destroy with superior DPS all these tanks, Tomicron will not manage it and will lose all its infantry because 2 tanks will remain. And all the jets, all the 14 jets for opposite will remain. Tomicron has only its tank line that still protects the ground and yeah. So opposite has to be careful to not go too far. Tomicron spreading a bit the tanks, 3 marauders to protect as well when the Viking will land. Tomicron in the meanwhile taking a 5th base while the opponent is on 3 bases and producing new army in production over here. You see Lord Tomicron with 2 factories producing 2 tanks at a time. Tomicron is adding is adding 4 starports with the reactor in total for Lord Tomicron to go to this air transition. Upgrades are going, production is going, Marine Marauders from all the 5 barracks of Tomicrons are now producing. In the meanwhile, opposite is clearing up the last tanks from Lord Tomicron. Tomicron is down, is in resources lost, but is outmanning the opponent by a lot actually. Tomicron is building and morphing his 6th base already on location, while opposite is struggling to place its 4th base. This base is not ready yet from opposite, and Tomicron already relentless aggression, pushing again the left side of the map to trying to find space with 2 Liberators. Lord Tomicron harassing the flying barracks, opposite going with the superior jets. The barracks will die, but the jets will clear the flying units from Lord Tomicron. Tomicron takes a siege position in this location, but opposite has a better siege position defending all this area, and Tomicron cannot break this because there are too many tanks. These are 12, 14 tanks, and 14 tanks is more than Tomicron's IQ, 14 exactly, and that's the reason why Tomicron sees more tanks than IQ for him, so it retreats and waits for a better moment, while opposite destroying the rocks to attack better the left lane. Tomicron going up this ramp to take a better defensive position with the left army. But speaking about left army, Tomicron also is issuing a right army. Lord Tomicron has 2 maneuverable armies with the Marine Marauder Medivac Viking. Let's see, opposite attacking with a lot of tanks, 14 tanks. Meets the army of Tomicron. Opposite has a bigger army, but Tomicron steams forward with courage, kills some tanks, but in the middle, brilliant counterattack from Tomicron. Tomicron on the right flank has a counterattack. Brilliant. Lord Tomicron occupying the left flank, going forward to the 3rd base of the opponent. All these workers must die now for opposite. Lord Tomicron damaging the base, damaging the economy. These workers have a short life. Opposite choose to come back from the attack. Tomicron sieges up, and opposite will clear this army of Tomicron, but at what cost? The jets fly down, but they have hard time killing the more upgraded infantry of Lord Tomicron, and finally the tanks will give the final blow, but a lot of workers went down for opposite. The third base is on fire, while Tomicron has 7 bases. All these workers died. Opposite now on 32 workers only, against 80 workers of Lord Tomicron. Tomicron more than doubling the economy of the opponent. Opposite is not done with the attack. Tanks, Vikings, already putting pressure on the middle of the map. Lord Tomicron producing another army for his more starport. A lot of Vikings coming alive for Tomicron. Opposite, in the meanwhile, putting pressure on Tomicron's side of the map with tank Thor Medivac, very, very powerful mechanical army. I would like to see a bit more upgrades. No, there are upgrades. Sieging up 1 base of Tomicron. Tomicron cannot defend this base. Too many tanks. This base is lost. So Tomicron evacuates the workers without losing them to a better base. Tomicron loses some units, but Tomicron starts having now the air superiorities because the jet of Tomicron starts to be more numerous than the jets for opposite. So opposite chooses not to engage, but chooses to retreat the army, doesn't even try the aggressive rotation because Tomicron has more sensor tower. Opposite tries to take again the 12 o'clock base after losing it for 2 times, and this time around opposite needs that base because he needs gas. He has a shortage of gas because all these units cost gas. So Tomicron needs those gases to be up and running very, very soon. On the other hand, Lord Tomicron massing again the army. Tomicron has 113 army supply against 70 for the opponent. Tomicron has a bigger army, more upgraded, and patrolling his side of the map. Opposite finally taking this vital base. If he wants to stay in the game, this base must be defended. So opposite now must play defensive, must expand the game, and then try to push again, maybe with battle cruiser or something else. Lord Tomicron moving to the top with his arm. Opposite scan the corner base, says, oh, you have this base, let me go to kill him. But Tomicron prevents the move. The armies clash. Lord Tomicron, opposite, doesn't siege. The Mariners team is to glory. They have more DPS when it takes them hostage. Great fight. The jets from Tomicron. The Marines from Tomicron. Big fight. The armies clash. Tomicron, fantastic engagement. Tomicron destroys the opponent's army and kills this game. GG's called by opposite. Lord Tomicron with superior DPS finds the opponent with the pants down when the army is not siege and kills in one single blow all the opponent's army that had only few workers left, and opposite GG's out of the game. After sucking for all these years, Lord Tomicron finally learns the army movement in TVT. Fantastic. Tomicron with the Bionic strategy with smaller and more maneuverable armies outmaneuvers the mechanical army of the opponent. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell me if you like this video. Don't forget above all to smile and have a wonderful time, and see you soon with another episode of Lord